Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So today we're going to be reviewing the Holybro SHURIKEN 250 RTF quadcopter. Now I always love RTFs because they come with their own transmitter. You don't have to do any binding or switching or configuring your modes of flight or anything at all. So this would be great for somebody that wants a high performing kind of racing quadcopter and doesn't really want to have to buy like a Tyrannus or something and configure it yourself. If you just want to kind of get started and go for it. So this is going to be a full review of this one. We're going to go ahead and inspect it right here, unbox it, inspect it, set it up, and go ahead and go out to the park, do our full-on flight test, get some aggressive flying in, probably some crashing, see how it performs, and then go ahead and do it pros and cons, tell you what I thought about it. I'm just spinning the box around. We've got the front and the back of the box. There's some specs on it. So they're BL Heli 30 amp 2 to 4S ESCs, so that's the amount of power you can run through this. Firmware is Clean Flight preset. I imagine you could put Betaflight on this if you wanted to. And it looks like we've got a 40 channel VTX, which you can switch between two different power settings. It looks like we can go between, I thought I saw somewhere between 200 and 600 milliwatt. Looks like the recommended battery is a 4S 1300. Our motors are 2205 2550 kV motors, and it comes with 5045 props. So anyway, that's what the box is all about. And if you wanted to get some more in-depth specs and the current pricing on this, don't forget to check the link in the description. I'll have that down below the video so you can check all that out for yourself. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and unbox this thing if I can figure out how this opens up. Okay, here we go. So, open the top, and here we go. Right off the bat, we have a spare parts little card here. And then we've got a SHURIKEN 250 layout. Wow, okay, so they're giving you just kind of one big sheet of paper here. Let me just open this up really quick so you guys can get a good look at it. So you have cautions, you have everything you get in the box, some more stuff, specs on the motors and the props. And then you have the full controller layout here. So that's the layout, that's the controller they're giving us in the box. And it's telling you what all the switches do. Arm, disarm, 3 different modes of flight, with the second toggle is horizon, acro, and air mode. Switch C and switch D don't look like they do anything. So that's great. Give you a nice colorful sheet of paper here for newcomers to know how to fly. A little warning card here. This looks like a little E3 SkyRC charger card there. And then we have another pamphlet here. And this looks like it's going through kind of the flight controller power board layout. All right, cool. So here it is. So we already have the battery mounted up. Here is the circular polarized antenna they're giving us. So I'm just going to pull it out of the box. And really, that's all you're getting on top. Nothing much. Looks like that sticker came off as a caution. So here's the quad. Nice looking 250 size quad. Looks like we have the camera mount here, which is dampened, so that's pretty cool. The whole FPV camera is dampened, and this little separated dampening pad there. It looks like that's where we're going to hook on our antenna. Just screw that right on the top. Nice and easy. And this is that kind of sandwich design, so pretty cool. Holybro is known for doing this kind of sandwich design where you can see how it's just like this PVC plastic sandwiched in between two pretty good size carbon fiber plates. So the top plate looks to be quite a bit thicker than the bottom plate. That top plate looks like maybe 2 to 3 millimeters. This bottom plate is actually a PCB board. What's cool about this one is, check this out. They go ahead and they overlay this extra piece of plastic so they don't have a lot of those circuit board contacts exposed on the bottom, and it also gives it a little more strength. Of course, a little more weight as well, but that's okay for longevity. Kind of cool motor bottom covers. These are going to protect your motor and from crashes, and these are kind of like landing feet here. We've got the props already on. These are some durable 5 by 45 inch propellers, and you can see the motors are kind of countersunk down there in this style of sandwiched body style. Looks like this is where that sticker was actually just right over, the warning sticker was right over the XT60 connector to receive the battery. here it is, just one little bitsy receiver antenna sticking out the back. So hopefully we have a decent amount of range. Not sure what that's going to be, but we'll try that out. There's a micro USB slot there on the tail end, so we should be able to get into our flight controller settings from that slot. On the top, just all carbon fiber. They do have a pre-glued in rubber pad here to grip in our battery. They only give us a 3S25C 1300 battery to start with, so I'll definitely be using a 4S on this one just to experience the full extent of its power with you guys. Two nicely done smaller Velcro straps to hold that battery in. Very nice streamlined front with the Holybro branding here. For the motor cooling effect, we've got these little ridges grooved in the side plastic. And then as far as the camera goes, let's see, can we adjust this thing? Yeah, so the camera does look like it's not really super easily adjustable. Looks like it's fixed here. It is a wide angle, nice looking camera though. 700 TVL, I believe they said this one was on the specs of the box. And then looking down here, we can see that we have the VTX LCD readout for our channels. And we can get to the buttons by going down here with like a screwdriver and pushing these buttons. It looks like there's possibly 4 buttons down inside here where we can change our VTX power and also the channel settings on our VTX. Anyway, that's the quad. I'm gonna set that over on the side for a sec. And let's see what else we get in the box. So that top layer, that's all we're getting in the top layer, and the bottom layer is where we're going to have our controller and the charger and stuff. So a couple of pieces of foam I'm just pulling out here. We've got a sticker thing if you want to put some Shuriken Holybro stickers on your, some of your equipment here. So check this out. It's a FlySky i6S. You can see on the back there. And that's what they're giving us in the box with this one. You can see that we have all the switches here. We kind of went over that in the manual already on what those switches do. The back, we got 4 AA batteries we're putting in. This is a great one because it's got, a dual on, power on off system, so you don't accidentally turn it on. And these ones, as far as the Swell Pro bracer went, were actually beeper buttons, so you could press that and switch on your beeper. I don't think this one's going to be used for anything, and these two may not be used for anything, but this is going to be your arming and your modes of flight here on that stick. So cool. So a really good transmitter, and also there's a micro SD card slot, and this should be a trainer port here on the bottom. So that's the controller. Let's see what else is in the box before we get out and fly this thing. So an extra set of propellers. Great, love it when they give us extra sets. This looks like the manual on a CD here, a little mini CD. So if you want to check out that more in-depth manual, may have some software on there too. And let's just pull out the rest of this stuff. So power cable, looks like a US power cable for our charger. Speaking of the charger, here it is tucked away in the foam there. So it's E3 CIRC 1 to 3S charger. There's the balance ports on the bottom, and this is where you're going to plug in that wall adapter. And then here is just a micro USB cable, so if you want to get into your flight controller and adjust some settings, you shouldn't really have to adjust anything. We'll see how good this thing flies just out of the box, but if you want to, you can. Here's a little VTX channel card for changing your channels, and that's pretty much it. There's one more little bag in here, and let's see what this little bag is. So we've got another Velcro strap, 2 tie wraps, a little camera mount with some extra screws, and a couple more cables for possibly different receivers, and then some 3M double-sided sticky tape in there with what looks like another carbon fiber piece for strapping on possibly like a higher definition camera, you know what I mean? So we can strap on like a GoPro or maybe a Hero Session or something. Oh, here's another tool. This was in the box too. So they do give you a little tool to take it on and off your props. You can secure your motor here. It's a nice little plastic one, not metal, so you don't have to worry about scratching up your motors. Cool. So let me go ahead and charge all this stuff up, guys. Let's get out to the park and do our full-on flight test and pros and cons. Let's go fly. All right, guys, so we're at the park with the Shuriken 250 ready to fly. And what we're going to do is a full-on park fly test. I only have one battery left today, so I'm going to try to do both FPV and line of sight on one battery. Just going to do a couple minutes line of sight, show you how it looks from this camera, from my point of view, flying, test out like punch test, do some speed punching, some flips and stuff, see how it is, and then go ahead and put on the Fat Shark goggles. And while I have these goggles on, I'll go ahead and mount the run cam. It doesn't look like there's really too easy of a way to mount something like the GoPro Session, so I'm just going to use this run cam, kind of pointed up at similar to the FPV camera's view. You know, Velcro it on there, Velcro strap it on there, and give you some high definition video as well as what we're seeing in the FPV camera, what I'm seeing in the goggles. I'll go ahead and record that for you so you can see both worlds of how that looks. Alright, so turning this thing on, both buttons, both power buttons. You get that fly sky chime, and then plug it in the drone. Let it do its boot up, and we should be ready to go. So in this one, keep in mind that the arming is on this side, and then this should be the flight modes over here. So we'll go ahead and arm. You can see that the props are always going to spin. Ooh, okay, this thing is going to be a performer, it looks like. So this looks like Ratitude mode, or maybe Attitude mode. Let's see. Can we flip in this one? Yeah, we can flip. So does it just have Ratitude? And I forget what this one has. Let me just double check. All I'm seeing right now is Ratitude. See if I flip all the way down on the left one. Okay, so I forgot, but it's this left stick here, which is a little bit irritating to me. I would have liked it more on the right for a right-handed person. So all the way up on this one here, you can see is self-leveling, slow self-leveling, but we can still do flips. And then you click this thing down. Is it down one? Yeah, just down one is going to get you into acro mode. So we're going to go into Ratitude mode, so we have some self-leveling, and do a punch test. So from a hover, this thing feels really good. From a hover to a full punch up. Nice. Full throttle down. And it's falling straight. Back on the power to save it. Cool. So pretty darn powerful. Let me go ahead and do a forward punch test. This doesn't look like it has true attitude, which will prevent it from pitching too much. So I'm just going to try as much as I can. So pitch forward and punch. Wow. So it is fast, man. Yeah. So I don't want to do much more than this. Let's just test the yaw. Pretty good rate of yaw. And I want to save this thing for the video, the FPV video. So I'm going to go ahead and disarm it. And let's go ahead and throw the goggles on, see how this thing does FPV. We're ready to go. So let's see how this thing does FPV. I'm hoping it's all going to work out decently. Arming again is the left toggle all the way down. I'm going to go ahead and take off in Ratitude mode. A little bit of lines in the screen there. Wow. I don't know what it is, man. Maybe it's this park that just gives me the bad FPV signal. Switch into acro. I'm already hearing some beeping. So maybe I'm already too low on power. But we'll just fly it around real quickly before it dies. Whoa. Okay, I had a loss of signal there over by those trees. Did you see that? So just a real quick test here until we lose power. It does fly well, that's for sure. Let me see if I can hit these, let me see if I can get underneath these soccer duck hinds. Whoa, okay. Just totally nailed the soccer post. So let me go ahead and get that and let's see what the damage was. that'll be a good crash test at least. Alright guys, so what a great crash test. Even though I didn't have a very long flight with the Shuriken 250 in FPV, I was still able to crash it as hard as you possibly could into like a steel post. And let's assess the damage and then we'll do a pros and cons for this thing. So it looks like what happened was I went underneath the soccer post there, the soccer goal, through the post because there's no net. And from the back to the top part of the post where it starts to angle, it looks like that may have been like where I hit there and then possibly up top, because we can see that this propeller is completely broken and cracked. You can see that the Velcro that was holding the cam on ripped off, and also the Velcro that was holding the battery ripped in half as well, both straps. So this was double strapped, and look at that, it just ripped them both off right at the clip there. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the drone. The only other thing I saw was this carbon fiber up top just had a little bit of scuffing here, and that's probably just from running directly into the pole, like at a tilt like this. But nothing else is wrong with the drone. Everything else, motors are fine, everything's spinning fine, nothing's really separated. So the drone itself is fine, it's just all the attachments and the propellers, and that gets us to the camera and the FPV antenna. So the FPV antenna completely pulled out of its screw-on mount, so I'm gonna have to just get a new FPV antenna. And the one it came with, you know, was kind of cheap anyway, so you should probably replace this. If there's something you replace on this, go ahead and get a better antenna, because that FPV wasn't that great to begin with. And then that gets us to the run cam 2. So unfortunately I totally busted off the lens. I didn't see it over there, so I'm gonna go looking for it, but this camera may have had it. So hopefully I'll have that video up, the last video this thing took. It does sound like there's some loose stuff in there now, but you can see how it just broke off the whole front of the lens because that probably hit the post as well. And then the battery is the last thing that we need to check out, and it looks like the battery did take a hit as well on that post. So the corner of the top of the battery there, it goes this way, it nailed the post, it broke some of the, you know, just the outer casing wrapping here. So the battery may be okay, but it did get mushed in the corner a little bit, so I'm gonna have to monitor this one to make sure it doesn't like blow up on me. But so that's what we can expect for crashing this thing, you know, going at a pretty good clip into a metal post. And you know, it did really well. I'm not seeing any crack on the lens. The lens is protected here. This whole thing held up pretty good. Let me pull out that Velcro strap. I can see a little bit of, you know, stress marks on this top portion here, where the camera mounts and the camera guard here. You see you have that little white stress marks there, and but nothing's broken and nothing's ripped. So maybe a little bit harder it might have broke this top portion, but all the bungees are still in there. The safety guards didn't get pulled out or anything. So pretty impressed with the durability. If nothing else, that was a good durability test. It's definitely a durable one. One little con was the FPV again. So if anything, double check your FPV on this one and get a better antenna. And it seems like a solid starter. This thing can take some abuse. I'd imagine that you could crash this thing like crazy and all you're gonna break are antennas and propellers. So a good starter drone for sure. It didn't handle really as good as some of Holybro's more experienced drones, like their X-Frame Shuriken X1. If you want more performance, that would be a good one. So anyway guys, I hope you really enjoyed that review. It flew very well. It had a lot of power and just a couple of little cons, but you know, overall a good drone. If you'd like to check this thing out, I will have the links down in the description, down there below the video, of where you can find this thing, so you can go ahead and check the pricing and a little bit more in-depth specs on it. And I do a lot of reviews like this, so check out my channel. I think you'll like it, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.